Scan, you have a copy mode or a scan mode, okay? And there's different templates for each mode. Everybody knows what the difference, copy and scanning, right? Copy means you're gonna put this through, it's gonna go through the scanner, it's gonna make a copy, okay?
And it'll come out, the copy will come out over here.
Copy will come out over here, correct. Top delivery tray is full.
Yeah, leave it.
Okay.
It's not garbage, it's for calibration.
So-
I'll go with that after.
Copy mode, you're gonna feed it through, and it's just gonna make a copy, and I'll illustrate that. Scan mode is you're gonna scan, and it's gonna create a PDF file, or a TIFF file, or whatever type file format you want, okay? So, the templates, these are individual templates here that we made up. If you see as I scroll through the list here, I don't know if you guys can see it. Whoever's gonna use it should come close, so this way you can see what I'm saying, but these templates...
Can we pull this away from the wall a little bit? That way we can
Yeah,
just have
swing
a
it
little...
around.
Yeah, sure. How's that?
Just take that.
Okay, so the templates on the scan mode that we've created, and these could be modified. These could be modified. We created a black and white PDF-A lines. Lines means lines in text. Okay, I did a grayscale PDF-A lines. You don't have to write them down if you don't want to, because they were going to be here.
Yep.
You just need to understand what you're looking at. Then I made a grayscale PDF-A maps.
Yep.
And I did a color PDF-A lines.
Yep.
And a color PDF-A maps, okay?
Awesome.
Now, we can only have 5 templates online.
Yep.
So I created these 5, which hopefully covers the spectrum. Now, I know you want to be able to do multi-page scans as well.
Yes.
So the way you're going to have to do it, the way we set it up, is actually go into the template and tell it it's multi-page when you're ready to do multi-page.
Got it.
By default, they'll all be single page.
But you can do the change here?
Yes, do the change here.
So
Yeah,
so
everything
right
that you
here.
do in that web tools is defaults. That's where you set up all the defaults. Here is where you work
Make the
from.
changes.
So you can override any of the defaults from here within a template, and then when the panel times out,
Let's go right back.
it'll go right back to whatever the defaults were.
Are you going
Okay.
to show me that tool? and all that stuff?
Yeah.
So let me illustrate a copy for a copy job and then a scan job. So with this machine, you always want to go face down. Okay, the drawing needs to be
So we
face
can be
down.
clear, can we go through, how long is calibration?
How long? Not that long.
Do you want to do a calibration first so they can see it, or is it not used so much?
It's not really used much.
Okay.
You usually don't have to. And if I can go through it at the end.
Okay.
But worst case, if you're not comfortable, you can have a tech come and he can do it too. So but it's you just tell it. You go into the calibration mode in here and you feed it through. You center it, feed it through, and I'll go through
We
it.
calibrated it yesterday.
Okay. Yeah, I figured the techs always do that when they set it up. So what I'm going to do first is make a copy. Okay. So you have a 36-inch scanner bed.
Sorry, can I interrupt? We have a roll of size 42 in there. And can we use the 36 because we have a lot of 36 and
Yeah.
I need to save the 42.
You want to save it?
Sorry.
That's all right. Take it out.
Please.
So, all right. So.
Now, we don't have to take it out. Can't we leave it in there? Because you can
You
leave
can,
certain
yeah, you can.
multiple-
I'll just load a 30, where's the 36?
Okay.
So. So why don't we, you have regular bond or
Mm-hmm.
engine?
Right there. The
So-
other ones, the small ones are a little bit heavier.
So why don't we start, you know what, let's do this now. Let's start by the machine. Let's go over the machine first. It's really heavy. I'll show you how to load paper, the whole
Please.
9 yards, and then we'll come back to this.
Absolutely.
All right.
That's fair, because that might be what you do.
So when you load paper, you got 2 drawers. There's 2 rolls in each, so you got a total of 4 rolls. So I'm going to open this up. Okay.
Yes, we did.
And that's what that rail is for. So you can lay the paper on the rail.
You guys get closer so you can actually see.
Just throw this down there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wait.
Okay. So when you load it, you want to make sure, I have it the wrong way. You want to make sure that it's like that, so when you feed it, you're going to feed it from underneath. Okay? So you take the spindle. This green handle always needs to be on the right-hand side. Okay? So I'm going to put this in, like so. And I'm going to line it up with whatever size it is. So if this happens to be 36, I'm going to line it up with 36. If it was 42, I would line it up with 42. If it was 30, 34, whatever size it is, that's what you line it up with. Just make sure the green handle's on the right. Okay? Once you do that, you basically just drop it in. Actually, you want to take these off first, though, right? So, yeah. Anybody got nails?
Mine are broken.
They're always a little difficult.
Mike's got a knife.
I think I have my key, actually.
There you go.
Oh, perfect.
In school.
It's kind of scary. Mine's in my purse.
Okay. This side. Okay. So, thank you, Mike. So, basically, you're going to load this in like that. Just lay it in. And in the back, because I'm doing the back roll, I'm going to go underneath this green rail here. You see that? Okay? If I was loading this green rail here, if I was loading the front, I would just be loading it right underneath this silver, this chrome rail.
Mike, do you want to walk in and
Okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just keep feeding it forward until the machine grabs it. Okay? You'll feel the machine grab it. Then at that point, you can close the drawer. Okay? And then over here, you're going to tell it what media type it is. Quick question. Are you only going to be running like a bond for printing?
versus?
Well, this machine can run different medias, you know?
We
So-
haven't purchased any, Tibet, we haven't ordered anything else.
All right,
yet.
so for
right
now-
it's just these two.
Okay, so for now, what's in the list is a regular 20-pound bond.
Yes,
And if I go to other media,
Yes.
see this button here?
Yeah.
This is not touch panel, by the way. You got to use these white buttons.
okay.
Okay, so if I hit that button, I have a choice of 20-pound bond or premium 24-pound bond. Okay,
Would this be premium? These
it'll
are-
say it. It says it right on the label.
Okay, yep, premium.
Okay, so if these are the only two you're going to use, you're good to go. But there is, I could show you guys in the web tools area, you could configure this list to be as long as you need it based on what medias you're going to run. Okay, so once they're in here, then the user just loads the media and basically chooses which media they want to assign it to. So for now, I'm going to keep it on bond. So I'm going to say next, and use the wheel to go up or down. Okay, so I'm going to say next. Long strip or short strip means it's going to advance it and cut it. So do I want it to advance a long strip and cut it or a short strip and cut it?
Right.
If it's a pretty good edge, usually short strip is fine, and you say finish, it'll advance it and cut it. And then the media will be loaded at that point.
Okay.
So that's basically a shortcut. A long cut would just be a couple more inches.
Okay.
All right. So that's loading paper. Any questions on that? Okay. Toner. This is a toner-based machine. It's not an inkjet machine. Okay. So the technology we use are called toner pearls. So these are toner pearls. They look like little gumballs, but they're not. Don't try to eat them. But what happens
So
is
cute.
you'll hear the machine clicking, which means these are actually loading in the machine. And what the machine does is it heats these up to like 300 degrees, melts them, and then the head sprays the toner on the paper, and it's instantly dry.
Do the augers ever get stuck that?
Usually not. It's a pretty
Okay.
good mechanism where it filters through.
Okay.
But one thing is though, when these are done, you don't fill these up. You throw them out,
Yes,
and then take a brand new one and put it in.
because when you get it, it
That
comes with a
whole-
hard card.
The whole cartridge.
The whole cartridge.
The whole cartridge.
And it's recyclable, not take it back to the store and recycle it. So
Right.
we through it and recycle it. And we just do the dump drawer?
Yeah, I'm going to show them
Okay.
Does
So-
I got a couple questions. Does this do self cleaning on its own?
It does do a self-maintenance, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it do it when they turn it on, or is it like it does it weekly if it knows?
Usually when it's idle. If it's idle, it'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
If say she only turns it on for a specific job, will it do the job?
Wait,
and
I'm
she
not
just-
sure actually. I'm thinking about that. I don't know. I don't think it does do a self-maintenance actually.
Does it
I don't
need
know.
one?
The
Like,
te-
do we have to manually do one?
No, that would be a question for Chris, really.
Okay.
But I don't believe it does.
Because I just want to know because
Yeah,
I've
I
seen
don't-
the ink type of
I
printers that do.
no, I
need
don't think
maintenance.
so. It's,
We haven't
we
seen
have
it.
machines that do, but which are more inkjet. This one typically no.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay. So the other thing with these is you know, you have your cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. These are notched, so if you were colorblind, couldn't put them in the wrong one, okay? So they will only fit in the appropriate color. So you kind of get it in there, you know, jiggle it around till it kind of seeps in, and then pop it forward. You'll hear that pop. That's how you know it's in place, okay? The toner waste bin, back here there's a door. You push the button, this door opens up, and this opens. This cartridge, these containers, are what those ship in. Okay?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So essentially what happens is you just peel the top off, right? Take it out, and there's a clip, a plug that goes in the bottom. You just pop that out and put it in.
Just use the shell.
But save these. Don't throw these out, because what happens is you can see the toner waste in here. This is going to build up, and the way it determines that it needs to be changed is by the height. The machine at some point will tell you replace this. Okay? So just save it.
How much? Say if we do a certain amount of printing, how long do you think that'll get filled up? Could it take, like, if you did a print every day, a month?
I mean, not a day, but I mean it takes a little bit. But really depends on the volume and how much usage.
But a large volume, then it would
Yeah.
be replaced. Okay.
We
Yeah.
didn't say
And what
any-
you could
we
do
didn't
is
say
too,
any of
if
those.
you run out, let's say you don't have any,
Yeah.
it's not the end of the world. It's like crayon. You can break this, dump it in the garbage,
Okay.
and put the same one in, because it goes by the height.
Mhm.
Okay? Simple enough?
Plus, Shelley, I think there's your extras over there anyway.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
right
there
there.
they are.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
saw
Then you just close that. Okay. So let's move around the front again. I'll go over jams. If you get a jam.
that. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So if you get a jam, first thing you're going to do is you'll follow the wizard on here. The wizard will walk you through it. But essentially, what you're going to do is open up this door. Okay. And the paper would be coming out and into the machine, right? Over this, and back in. So what you'll do is you push this back a little bit and put this here. This is an online cutter. So the paper should go in here where my finger is, and then you got to zip it across to cut the paper. And then make sure you just bring it back to the home position, okay? So now that the paper's cut, you pull the top out, continue to pull the top out until you get it all out, and leave the bottom exactly where it is. Because all you'll do is close the door and hit next, and the wizard will actually reload it for you, okay? The only other thing you got to be aware of with a jam, it'll always tell you to do this, but there may not necessarily be anything in there. Probably 90% of the time there won't be, but it'll ask you to do it anyway. This little door here, just reset it. Now, if you open it, take a quick look in there, make sure it's clean, there's nothing in there, and then
Because slight paper can get caught in.
yeah, maybe like a sliver or
Yeah,
something,
that's what I'm thinking.
and then just kind of close it down.
Okay.
That's it.
If we have to move this to get into the back, does it have sensors on there so it
Well,
knows that we've taken it off?
If you have to move this, you have to be super careful, because here's what's going to happen. This is what happened to me before. By accident, I closed the drawer too soon. The machine wasn't up yet. And what happens is I couldn't close the drawer then. I couldn't get the drawer closed. And because inside here, there are latches that have to be in a certain position in order for the drawer to close. Okay? And these legs that are locked into the floor, if the drawer gets stuck, you might have to release these legs and pull those things out, and then reset these legs back down again.
And they have to be
Okay.
completely retracted.
Yeah, they have to be completely retracted. And then when you basically retract them, you want to hold it down and give the machine a shove so that you hear it lock in place. If you don't have to move it, don't move it, because it could cause.
I want it off the wall.
if
Because
we
it's
have
kind
to
of
go in the
freaking me
back,
out.
it's gonna
Yeah,
make
that's
problems.
You know?
against the wall.
Yeah, I didn't realize
Yeah,
it was going to be
I didn't.
What happened?
It's hitting the wall, and I just need
Yeah,
enough
it's
room for
brushed up
somebody
right
to get
against the
behind
wall,
it.
so before we leave, just want to move it out a little bit.
All right, we'll try.
We're
I just don't
talking-
want to mess
we're
anything up
talking
now,
over inches.
because if we move it and get that drawer stuck, we could be here 20 minutes trying to.
No, not right now.
Yeah,
Just if we can
later.
after.
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely,
Like,
definitely.
you see what I'm getting at. It's
Yeah,
just if we have
sure.
to get to the back, I want to make sure we can get
That's
to the back.
fine. That's fine. Okay.
There's
So-
another mechanism on the other side that he showed me when you open the door, and there's a green knob in there.
Did you turn
That
paper?
also had to do with the drawer. If the drawer didn't
Okay.
close, there's a green knob on. If you open the panel on the other side, there's a green knob towards the center top.
I think
Yeah.
you're talking about the rail. I think you're talking about the rail.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a bar that goes right
Okay.
through the middle. That's the piece that if that's not in the right position, the drawer won't close.
Okay.
okay? So that has to definitely be in the right position,
Are these all safeguards?
so.
Like if you move it, if you change something, it won't close right? Is that because it's a safeguard to make sure you get it all in order?
Yeah, yeah. I don't run into it too often, but when I do, it's like I make the sign of the cross because
Oh, great.
it's, even for me, sometimes it's a pain to get it right, you know? But the technicians, 1, 2, 3, boom, they, you know, they do
And if
it
there's
all
any
the time.
problems, you can just call a technician.
Worst
right
case,
now.
if you can't get it, just call the tech, let him, you know, hopefully he'll walk you through it, but, so. It's not that bad, it's just that if you do it enough, you'll get used to it. I don't do it enough, so, or don't have a reason to, so. All right, so let's get back to scanning, all right? So, in terms of scanning, first of all, the on-off switch is inside here. There's a black button, okay? I don't know why they put it here, but that's where they put it.
Make it difficult.
The little
Keep
button,
going,
it's
Michael,
inside,
around
it's
because
inside
it's
here.
like-
Come even closer.
There I see.
See it right there?
Inside the
Yeah,
compartment.
I don't know if it's gonna pick it up if it's black, but basically just know where it is. Okay, so when you go to do a copy or a scan, face down, and you wanna start from the right-hand side here, okay, this is your 0 point on the edge here, okay? The scanner will detect the width of the sheet. There's sensors in there that will detect the width. So I'm putting this in right now, it's coming up, it's saying the width is 23.6. So if I was gonna do a copy job, let's say, and I had a 24-inch roll in there, it would go to the 24-inch roll, because that's the most
default.
feasible size that it would put it on. Right now, we have a 36 and a 42, so theoretically, this should go to the 36 if I run a copy.
If I choose to, can I tell it to go to the
Yes,
42?
you can override it, yes, you can. Okay, so let's work in copy mode.
It's just
okay?
going to go to that roll, or it's going to scale to that roll?
No, it's gonna go to that roll.
I think if he chooses a bigger roller, it'll then scale to the roll, but it'll go to the
No,
smaller
it won't
one.
scale,
It
unless
won't.
you tell it to scale it.
Okay, but you have that option.
You have that option.
Okay.
Okay, so right now, if you don't scale anything, it'll always be 1-to-1. It's just a matter of what's the best size roll it can put it on. Okay, so under copy mode, we have a copy template, a normal color copy template, a fast color template, a photo color template, a normal black and white, and a fast black and white. What's the difference between normal and fast? Okay, it's the speed. Okay, fast, it is. It's the quality.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
It's
it's
a
I thought it was a trick question.
no, it's the quality. The machine will print in three modes: economy, production, presentation.
Yeah.
Okay, so fast is economy, normal is production, and presentation would be like a photo mode. Okay, so just understand that. So if I wanted to do just a basic copy, I leave it on 1. Green is go. Okay. How do I know if I'm in copy mode or scan mode? Well, whichever one is bold. See the mode that in bold?
Yep.
So, and by default, you're always in copy mode. Okay? By default. So.
Now, it doesn't save the scans anywhere that you like.
I didn't do a scan right now. This was a
No,
copy.
that's what I mean. A copy. It doesn't save the copy to another location. It just copies, goes here.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. It does, in theory, it can put it in an area called what we call a smart
Like a
box.
repository.
A smart box, which is like a temporary storage in case you want to maybe rerun the copy again. You can walk up to the panel, go into the smart box, choose the copy job, and rerun it. But it doesn't name a copy job, so sometimes it's difficult to know.
Which arbitrary?
You know, so most people don't really use it. By the time you find it, it's probably easy to run it through again. You know, but I can certainly show it to you if you want to see it. So this is doing a copy job, right? If I was going to take this and do, I won't do it because I don't want to burn all your paper. I don't want to burn your paper. To clear anything, I just hit that and it'll go back to the home position. I can toggle it just to clear all my settings. Because remember, if I want to redo another copy and I made some different settings, if I want to clear it, just toggle it and it'll clear the settings. Okay? Now, if I wanted more than one copy, then I would hit, 2 or 23, whatever I want. Okay? Depending on which template I wanted to use, right? That's where I would put it. So if I wanted to do, say Fast CAD, and I wanted to do 23 copies, I would make sure that template's selected and then say how many copies I want. Make sense? Okay. So that's a basic copy, but what we'll do is Are you gonna be doing like sets of copies, for instance? Okay, so like if you have
Absolutely.
10 sheets and you want 3 sets collated?
Yes.
That's a common application?
Yes.
Okay, so let me show you, let me do,
Electrical prints, you know, footers or whatever they're doing for that
okay.
particular job.
So let me just do one more of these real quick.
That actually is a set right there. That would be that.
Okay, well, I'll show you with 2
Yep.
sheets, and just so you understand
Yep.
how to set it up to give you the collated set. So I'm gonna make 2 copies here, and the reason I'm doing this, making 2 here, is so I can label them, so I don't destroy your original. So let's just put this back on the table for a second. So I'll take this and label this, number 1.
Sheila, you gonna need anything to be able to cut that?
I have a paper cutter. I don't think it won't cut anything bigger than a
Well,
17.
what you should do, if that's a common size that you run, you should order 24-inch roll.
I don't know why they have this, except they needed a copy of it. That's all they could. That's the largest they could print on whatever printer they had.
Yeah.
So that's what Aldo said. We have it this size because we.
Well, the only reason I bring up with the cutting, if we do something like for Tracy where it's gonna be a set look, we might wanna adjust that look.
Yeah, I mean, I have, you know, there's a little red cutter over there that you can just put a ruler on it, just gonna zip, but.
Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is, instead of doing a single copy, I'll do a set, or 2 sets, I'll say
Where
2
the
sets.
tape was. Where the tape was on.
Oh, that's probably where the tape was.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna put the first sheet in, right? Right justified. Okay. Okay, and what I'll say now is, we'll do fast because it's, what do you call it? I'll go fast CAD copy. I'll say 2, but right now that means 2 copies, right? I have to tell the machine that I want to do sets. So what I do now is I go into this template that I want to use. So I'm inside this template, and if you'll notice I have a bunch of new settings here inside this template. Okay?
Yeah.
So now, you see this button up here, Create Set?
Yep.
So when I hit Create Set, now I'm in set mode.
Yep.
Okay? So now, watch, when I hit the green button, this is going to be sheet 1 of set 1. Okay? And the nice thing you guys have is that the back tray there, which is,
That flat thing?
yeah, it's great. Well, I don't run into this scanner too often. The reason you got this is because of the adjustable.
Correct.
Right. Most of the people don't, if they're not doing that, they get the other one that doesn't have that option.
Yeah, and then the plans just drop
You
into
can,
that
yeah,
round
you've
thing.
seen it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't like it.
So this is my second sheet, right? So I did my 2 sheets. Now I told the 2 sets. Now I have to say close set because it doesn't know how many sheets I'm putting through. So after my last sheet, I say close set. So now the machine will know he did 2 sheets. He wants 2 sets. So it should come out 1, 2, 1, 2. Collated. Make sense? What's that?
It is the same.
Well, again,
We did a quick print.
yeah, remember, the mode, the speed will
Yeah.
definitely determine how fast or slow it's gonna go.
Is there a calibrator in there to tell how many images that we printed or scanned off? This, yeah, counter off this one and that one.
Well, not on this, but on there, there's it's like I think it shows you like the square footage or something like that. I don't know about count. It's not a
Okay.
counter of how many actual prints you're
Well,
using to run.
okay, some counter, okay.
But,
But this doesn't have anything that tells you
No.
how many scans you did.
no. Okay. So this is going. It might be done. Okay. Looks like it's done. So here's what we got, right? We got 1. 1, 2. 1. Should be 4 sheets here. Stick it together. 1, 2. All right. So that's basically how you do set copy. Now, other options that are inside the template or any of these templates, it doesn't matter which one you go to. You have your copy output. So I can go into any template, it doesn't matter, and I can change the speed manually. Right from here, I could say, I want color, I want grayscale, right? Quality. See what I'm doing here? I'm rolling back up and down with the wheel. If I go to quality and hit this button, it opens the window. So I have my choices are economy, production, presentation. Okay?
Because you're working within that template, does that mean if you change it now, that will be the default?
Not the default. It'll whatever I change it to will be for the job that I'm going to either copy or scan.
And then when you close it out, that'll be the end, then it'll go back to default.
At some point, it'll time out and go back to the default.
Got it.
If you want to clear it, like I said before, you could just toggle
Okay.
and it'll clear it. Okay? So that's the first thing. You have original type, which is set to lines and text. If I open that, here's what I can do. Lines and text, artwork, map, photo. Okay? So depending on what you're doing, you can optimize it a little better by the type of drawing it might be. Some of these we don't worry about too much. Optimization. You have productive, fine detail. You know, it's basically the intensity of the scan. Media, I would say leave it on auto. Let the machine figure out which roll to put it on, unless you want to force it. Right? If you go here, you could say roll 1 or roll 2. This is what you were asking before. Okay. Usually auto is your best bet. Scale. By default, you're at 1:1.
Yep.
What this machine has a really nice feature is you could say to fit or custom. There's 3 scaling options.
Nice.
Okay, so let me explain what that means. You have 1:1. We know what that is, right?
Yeah.
To fit means I want to fit this drawing to a smaller or a bigger. So if I know I have, let's say, a 36, a 42, a 24, and a 30-inch roll in there, let's just say, and this is a 36-inch, and I want to put it on a 24. I could say, put it in, and say, I want this to fit to 24. And it'll figure it out, the math, how to scale it down to fit on the 24 for you. You don't have to be the mathematician to try to figure out the percentage, unless you want to.
Say you have something that's a 24 and you want to scale it to a 42. Does it do like a perfect fit, or does it look like it's pixelated? Like, you know what I mean? If it's scanning it in as a smaller size, does it blow it up properly, or is it like...
It's usually pretty good, unless you're taking like a real tiny thing and trying to blow it up.
But at least if it's a paper size that you have on here, then if it blows it up, it'll still look
Right.
appropriate.
It won't
Right.
distort.
That's what I mean.
Right,
Storage.
but keep in mind also, you can tell it at a higher resolution, right? So if you know you need a higher resolution
right.
because you're scaling up, you can, well, that's, let's back up, time out. That's in scan mode though. This is copy mode. You don't set the resolution in copy mode. So so you can't do that for copy mode. But I've seen it where it scales up and it's usually pretty good.
24, probably.
18 by 24?
What about it?
Okay, because we're talking about a project.
Oh,
We want to print something from a...
From a computer?
email. Yeah.
Okay.
What format is it in? What is
It's
it?
in,
A bitmap or?
It's JPEG.
JPEG. Okay, awesome. Cool, thank you.
Okay, so basically you understand what 2fit is, right? All right, custom allows you to custom allows you to put in your percentage. So if I want 50%, I can put in 50%. If I want to put in 200%, whatever, scale up, scale down. Pretty straightforward. Some of these other things here, like remove strip, delete area, most people don't get involved with using them.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
No,
That's all right.
this is for you.
Some of these things like delete area, remove strip, it basically, if you have like white space on the top and you want to try to remove it, you know, you can kind
Remove
of
the
crop
border.
it down a little bit. Yeah, most people don't use it too much. You can do an add strip, same thing. You can add more paper to it. Alignment, you can align it, you know, left, right. You can shift it, horizontal, vertical.
So you can manipulate the copy.
Right. Mirror, I don't know if anybody really uses this, but mirror is reverse reading. It's more in
You
like
never
the
know.
graphic arts, pre-press environments, you know.
Nice, neat.
I do it in
Transparency.
Photoshop all the time.
Lighter and darker. By default, you're on 0. If I go into lighter and darker, if I go positive,
Does
I'm making
lighter and
it.
darker mean lighter and darker or contrast?
Well, it's making the output lighter or darker.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a little bit of
Okay.
both.
All
I
right.
just want to make sure there's a contrast.
So if I go positive, I'm making it lighter. If I go negative, I'm making it darker.
Okay.
All right. Easy enough.
Yep.
All right. Close that. All right. Output delivery to the top, so you can actually tell it to either go to the top or the back. Okay, I will tell you, special medias that you run, some of the thicker medias, will by default go to the back. Okay, just to alleviate jamming, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it in terms of copying. Those are all the settings in terms of copying. For
Yes, I was
scanning,
gonna say for scanning, that's what she wants
Wait,
to
wait,
know
wait,
about
wait,
the.
can you drop out
Oh, we got.
the, I'm just
colors and
asking, not color necessarily, can you drop out anything in copy mode?
what do you mean drop out?
Like a color, if it's water stained or if it's really, really dark because it's an old map and the contrast isn't too great.
Oh, so you want to adjust it for a dark original, like?
I want to adjust it because we saw it, but it may just be from a computer setting.
I think you
But
had
wait, I just wondered if there was something in copy mode that you could
original.
change the
type.
contrast or drop out
Well,
Scans, he did it to the computer and then he changed what we needed and then.
in the computer and then print it.
Yeah, because they were like doing the copies were a little.
Yeah, because sometimes if you just making it lighter isn't going to make it a good image.
Exactly, that's
Yeah,
why if it's
just-
gonna be that instrument, scan it and include it.
If you're going to make adjustments, you're probably better off putting
when
it into
you're
the computer
scanning,
so you
That's
can
what I'm saying.
Manipulate
keep tweaking it without
manipulate
rescanning 100 times.
Yeah. When you're scanning, there is an option called dark original that will compensate if it happens to be like a
Oh,
dark
awesome.
original.
Okay,
Same
okay.
thing for blueprint.
Right.
Okay, I'll
We have
I'll
a
show
blue
you
one
that.
over there, yeah.
I haven't gotten into it yet, but I'll show you. So let's go to scan mode now. Okay. So what do I do if I want to go to scan mode? I have to toggle that, right? Okay. Same thing. I put the drawing in.
It was right on the top.
Well, copy's on the top and scan is
Yeah,
on the bottom. Now
copy
scan is
copy
bold.
is always the default.
So you hit the top and then choose.
Okay,
the top.
so if you walked away, if I left it like that in scan mode and I walked away and came back in 10 minutes or whatever, and it set the defaults, it would go back to copy mode. Okay, so when you walk up here, you need to know: do I want to do a copy or a scan? That's your first question. If it's a copy, you're already in the right mode. If you need to do a scan, you need to toggle that. Okay, so now I'm getting like a dry mouth here.
Do you want water?
Not yet. All right, so the templates I made up are, we talked about black and white PDF lines, grayscale PDF lines, grayscale PDF maps, color PDF lines, and color PDF maps. Okay, hopefully that covers the whole spectrum. Okay, so let's do a basic scan. This is black and white, it's lines and text, right, for the most part. So I'm just going to keep it on the first one, and when I hit scan, it says preparing scan. Now, you see this name here? OCE scans 0002.pdf. That's the file name. That's the name it's going to name the file. So when you walk back to your desk to go find the file, not at your desk, but on the server, wherever the scans are going, these guys will tell you.
From their desks. It's in the
You gotta
records
look-
management folder, and there's a folder called OC,
Is it under confidential?
OC scans. No, it's under the base.
We'll move that.
Okay, I can move to confidential.
We just have to have the adjustments.
If we move it, we have to reset it.
Yeah.
So, basically, you want to grab that name so that you know what it is when you go back.
So we'll need- okay.
Okay.
And
Now,
each image